a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. This book is written by Judith and it's illustrated by Ray. Great picture at the front, and I can already tell that he's a bit cross. Just look at his expressions there. Let's find out. Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. This book's for Robert, with love and thanks. Wonder what he did to deserve that. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running. And I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll have to move to Australia. Look at the expression on their faces. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said, if I don't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who did 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tap, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream falls apart off the cone and lands in Australia. Poor Australia. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mum gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on the top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Not looking very happy there, is he? That's what it was, because after school my mum took us all to the dentist. And Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me.
Come back next week and I'll fix it,
said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said. I'm going to Australia. We'd love to have you in Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot. And while we were waiting for my mum to get to the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. Look at this picture here. Looking at pictures can always tell us how that character's feeling. I think I know how he's feeling. And while I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mum came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and for fighting. Doesn't look happy. I'm having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I told everybody. No one even answered. So then, we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But the shoe man said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're all sold out." Then they made me buy plain old white ones. But they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, but except for my elbow. He also said,
don't fool around with his phone.
But I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Dad does not look happy. Dear. There were lima beans for dinner and I ate limas. And I hate limas. There was kissing on TV. Ugh, I hate kissing. My bath was too hot, I got soap in my eyes, my marble went down the drain and I had to wear my railroad train pyjamas. I hate my railroad train pyjamas. I think they look kind of great. When I went to bed, Mick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony and not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mum says, some days are like that. Even in Australia. Well, I know we all have some very bad days sometimes. So what you can think about is, when have you had a not so happy time? And can you remember a time when everything in the day was perfect for your family? Can you remember a day in your family where everything went wrong? So let's talk about how we can turn that around and make ourselves feel a little bit better. Maybe a pat on the back.